treat, and it's not clear, so clear cut as far as medical diagnosis and treatment is concerned. And then of course we talk about the food allergies. The most common ones are gluten, milk, eggs, nuts, grains, B vitamins. Those are all good things. You want to, that they're supposed to nurture you, as I mentioned. And it's not uncommon that they do the opposite. And that's very stressful, and that definitely will make anybody gain weight. And you can starve yourself to death, and it just won't, it's not going to work. It has to be resolved, and then it'll be okay. And sustainable. It's important that it's sustainable. Yeah, I mean, you can do an effort for 6 months or a year, but eventually you have to get to a place where you can sustain what you have gained, And then, of course, there's the airborne stuff, the pollen, the grass, the hay fever, the molds. That's basically weeds, the hay fever, and animals. And this week it was flowers. Flowers just kicked in as an allergen. And then there's the pesticides and the weed killers. And, I was pretty surprised to find out that our farmers are spraying Agent Orange on the crops out there. It took me a few years to figure that one out. And exhaust and chemicals, and I've got people come up with allergies just to the ant traps that they have in their house, or not everybody, There's a difference between something being toxic and something having an allergy to it, For example, chlorine is not good for anybody, but you can swim in a pool that has the right balance of chlorine, and you're okay. And then there's certain people that have an allergy to it, they, whatever, get skin rashes or headaches or a variety of symptoms. And then there's contactants such as fabrics and plastics and latex and so on. And lots and lots of people are allergic to their pharmaceuticals that they take every day. Some know it, a lot of them don't. Some reactions are more severe than others. You read about it, you hear about it constantly in the news, that another drug is taken off the market, or there's class action lawsuits that you can join. And of course the food additives and all that stuff, those are all chemicals too. Which is why, by the way, when it comes to sodas and drinks and artificial sweeteners are no solution. They're just as bad as the sugar, depending on your genetic makeup, whether you do better with toxins or you do better with sugar. But it's best just not to do so, because they're both unhealthy, whether they're diet or whether they're normal. It's best just to drink water. And you can flavor the water with different things like teas, and there's various ways. Just squeezing a lemon into water tastes great. Soda is really bad. So when I get to the point of know the food, know your food. You have to know your food. It's like that high fructose corn syrup. They keep saying that it's the same as sugar, but it's not. It's not a sugar. It's toxic to the body. It destroys the liver. It causes cirrhosis of the liver. You cannot afford to consume high fructose corn syrup. Period. And if you really, once you become aware of it, you can feel it. A lot of times we don't pay attention, or we don't know what's causing what, but high fructose corn syrup is a no-no. You can have sugar, but you have to have it in moderation. Sugar is, and if you're craving sugar, then there's a problem. There's something going on, like intestinal candida, which is not good. You have to resolve that. You got to get rid of that, because that creates a leaky gut, which causes allergies, and so these are all warning signs that craving sugar should not be a problem. If it is, then there's other things that are at issue. Sometimes it's parasites. Parasites and fungus, candida, are the two most common with sugar cravings. Okay? So what happens with all these, through all the stressful stuff that goes on, okay? The food, the family, the work, the culture, just everything, is that our glandular system, which is our hypothalamus, which is on the brainstem, our pituitary gland, which is the master gland right here, the thyroid, the adrenals on top of the kidneys, and prostate ovaries, they roughly are the major glands that govern our metabolism. And they have to fight these stressors every day, so they wear out. So everybody, usually overweight people have thyroid issues. Thyroid issues, in my experience, are often secondary to adrenal issues. And the adrenals, of course, are exhausted because of chronic stress syndrome. Chronic stress syndrome, you can see it with the abdominal fat. You can see it with irregular heartbeat. You can see it with those types of issues are warning signs of adrenal fatigue. And then, eventually, the thyroid, which is trying to keep pushing, just wears out. And you become hypothyroid. And then eventually it'll show up in your blood work and your doctors put you on medication, on thyroid hormone. Synthroid or levothyroxine, one of those. However, if you don't let it get that far and you realize that that's what's going on, you can rehabilitate your glandular system. You can rehabilitate your adrenals, and you can rehabilitate your thyroid by getting rid of some of these major stress factors. And there's certain natural medicines that will aid in that restoration process. It's not drugs. Drugs are very foreign to the body. Drugs are they're for emergency situations, not to just maintain a comfortable lifestyle, generally speaking.
Dr. Straile, thank you so much, Bob. We're going to stop videotaping now because we only have 10 minutes left, and I know there's some questions. Unfortunately, we'll have to have you come back another time because unfortunately there's just not enough time when we stop right at 7:00. And I wanted to give you guys at least 10 minutes to ask some questions, unless you want to wrap up anything, Doctor.
Okay, well, let me wrap up the reading the labels. Reading the labels is very important. You have to read the labels. Anything you pick up at the store, you got to read the labels. You wanna avoid. Oh, this is supposed to say MSG. MSG is a neurotoxin. It's a flavor enhancer and so on, but it's bad for you. Causes inflammation and neurological damage over time. High fructose corn syrup it's a poison. It's not a sugar. And of course, these are all just chemicals, artificial flavors. So, for example, okay, my mother-in-law left this at my house. Must have been Thanksgiving, probably. Right? And so this is just breadcrumbs. It's called Gia Russa. It's an Italian. They claim to be since 1926. Okay, this is what the label reads. This is breadcrumbs. Okay, enriched flour, high fructose corn syrup, partially hydrogenated vegetable oil, water, salt, yeast, brown sugar, honey, molasses, sugar, wheat, gluten, whey, soy flour, whole wheat flour, rye flour, corn flour, whole grain, cornmeal, rice flour, potato flour, butter, dough conditioners, monoglycerides, diglycerides, sodium and calcium stearoylacylate, soy lecithin, calcium carbonate. Anyway, I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. That's not breadcrumbs. Nobody can afford to eat that. You cannot eat that. You should not eat that. All you need is breadcrumbs. That's it. So you have to read. Maybe she doesn't like it, probably. So anyway, read your labels. It's very important, and it's the first step in reducing some of the stress on your system. And a lot of this stuff the body can't even get rid of, so it needs to store it. So it's going to fight to maintain those fat cells to store all that stuff. Okay?
Thank you.